Okay, greetings. Thank you for joining us on this trip down the bazaar. So just to start it out, so prediction: July shift, Elite's next move. Um, so I don't feel like a lot's going to happen these next 2 weeks. I mean, there's always going to be something, but nothing major. Of course, you never know. But either way, that's if it does, it's not really part of the agenda. Of course, that can be wrong. Who knows? But either way, it feels like July, the first week of July, is some kind of rollout of some kind of screw the people of the world. So I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's a war or what. I don't know. I don't know what it is. It could be pigs flying. It could be pigs flying. The sky might fall. Who knows? The Supreme Court is having their, that's going to be in the next 2 weeks. I don't pay attention to them, but they've been rattling the cages a lot. Abortion rights and I don't know, just trying to piss everybody off, basically. So, yeah, and they've been headlines too, like risking their lives and all that, people coming after them. So which you don't hear about that. I don't know. I imagine that's happened in the past somewhere. I don't remember that ever happening. But either way, it's they got to do something to keep things rolling, right? Got to keep the machine going. Feed the creature called reality. So, but yeah, July. It's not. It might. I don't know if it's financial. I don't think so. I mean, they're already doing that now. Some kind of it might show itself in the next 2 weeks. Pieces of it. It might be this whole Supreme Court situation, like their rulings will start a lot of chaos, especially if the whole abortion thing comes through. So, if they rule against it, and I think if they rule against it, like making abortion illegal, I believe that would be overturned in some states or something like that. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. Yeah, it seems like the Supreme Court's running the show recently. There's nothing else going on. So, but I feel like it's this 2 weeks. Yeah, there might be a lot of Supreme Court talking. Nobody cares about that. You can't blame him. Of course, that's interesting about the Supreme Court, though. There's connections to that to the astral court too, like a karmic court. Not that these guys are in; those guys are a bunch of sellouts, but for the most part, it's like who they sell themselves out to. I guess that's one way to get somewhere in Washington. I mean, I don't think they're all sellouts, but the majority probably are. It's never everybody. It's always majority, though. Who knows how many of those are clones or robots or whatever they are. And also reality glitch. Glitches in the matrix. Reality. That's just going to keep that one kind of open. Just in general, obviously, like when we go to sleep and wake up, or we kind of go through a reset, so we're not sure what's going on, and not fully, we're kind of being fed the story of reality. There's a possibility of more glitches on the way. Let's put it that way. It's hard to say right now. We'll just see where this month goes into. The month of July is feels like it's like a starting point. So there might be a lot of timeline shifts for people personally on their personal life. Changes, things they never thought you'd ever do. July seems like it should change for a lot of people. So like you never thought you'd be moving or whatever it might be. Feels like there's a lot of engagement on its way. So doesn't mean it's a bad thing. Just roll with it. So I don't need much choice. But yeah, reality glitch. There's a story I picked up. I was, like I didn't pay that much attention to it because it gets kind of confusing. I think it was like a prison inmate, or that was would go to sleep, but he wasn't fully asleep, and he felt like he was living another life somewhere else. So, which he probably was. I think it was another version of Earth. I can go more into that later, but I'm just kind of peppering that in. So I believe this is a guy in jail. So you have nothing else to do, right? You're just sitting around, it's like staring at the wall, and everybody's looking at you funny, whatever it is. And you can go into some kind of astral or some kind of lucid state where you pick up on another version. And jail makes perfect sense. I mean, what do you have going for you right there? It's kind of like a meditative state if somebody not attacking you. And it depends on where you are spiritually. Yeah, you can remember another, especially if you're in jail. It's like you're locked in, but so it helps you connect to another version of you that isn't in jail. We're still part of a locked-in society, though. So it's something which makes sense. I mean, we're obviously not going to get a lot from prison stories. I guess you never know. They'll show themselves, but stuff like that is pretty fascinating. You're in a cell block, you're in a 3-inch cell or whatever they call it, 3-foot cell. And, you're locked in and you start having dreams of another version of yourself somewhere, which I keep feeling it's like another version on another reality. I wouldn't think it's here. It can be, but it is definitely another version of Earth where, we're always shifting anyway, right? You turn left, another version of you turns right. There's always, you're one race in this lifetime, you're a different race in another lifetime, and it goes on and on and on. And I guess this whole gender thing that's going on, gender swapping that's going on, Elon Musk's son wants to change his gender to Vivian or somebody like that. And that's where the manipulation is. I understand why some are looking for another gender and all that. That's normal for some people, but there is an agenda behind it to push it for those that don't really need to experience it. Of course, if they need to experience it, they go through it. It's like with a lot of regret, but that's kind of a big deal. That's kind of especially when you get surgery and all of that. That's pretty heavy. So, but we are going into this kind of androgynous reality, which is confusing. It's not easy for kids for sure. It's extremely confusing. So at least Florida is helping fight that, but still, it's still pretty bad out there. But anyway, the Reptilian Supreme Court, I didn't want to add Reptilian to that, but it feels like that is Reptilian, that they're being manipulated like a bastard. I have to be careful trying to keep this censored as much as possible. But they're being so messed with, obviously. The Supreme Court is used right now as agent of chaos for us right now until another agenda kicks in. So they went from the virus to gas prices to the Supreme Court. Just checks and balances are just, it's just, you have to keep the news cycle going. You have to keep as part of this reality. As soon as the chaos ends, obviously that's when you start tapping into your astral, and they don't want that right now. But it doesn't mean people aren't going to, we're actually, things are speeding up energy-wise, at least maybe not time. I guess tomorrow is the longest day, supposedly. Well, in theory. I guess it depends on what job you have. Some of these jobs feel like you're there for a year, and it's just been an hour. So it all depends on perspective on that one. This time it's hard to come in prep sessions. I have a schedule. I have a shop here. I'm in May somewhere. No, I'm in June finally. Somewhere. Same situation here. We have a webinar this week somewhere, and social networking behind the scenes. And I think I showed this before, but I'll show it again. I think I've looked at this before, but so this looks very Atlantean. I don't know. I guess this is in the Supreme Court statue somewhere. It looks so Atlantean. It has that like little person it's holding, which is kind of messed up. This is not a good energy, man. It's far from it. And I don't know what this guy is. None of this is good. It's like none of it. and yet it's in Washington. So yeah, there you go. That'll make it better. But look at the lady she's holding. It's just that's screwed up. That's just not. Justice is blind, but what the hell? Where the hell are you? So this whole thing is just I think they catch this all to the Greeks and the Romans, but this really is Atlantean energy. Even if you don't see the Atlanteans, they don't call themselves Atlanteans, but all this is Atlantean frequency. They're just the elites behind the scenes. So I mean, does this look normal? No. I mean, obviously in Washington it looks normal. Even that, geez, that's in New York. Lovely. But yeah, they're definitely showing their color. Washington, it just has everything. I don't know where the hell this is. It's even worse. New York, I didn't hear. Oh, jeez. New York Supreme Court. Yeah, it's basically showing he was running the show. Jeez. Lovely. Yep, right in our face. Of course, if you talk, if you look at it differently, they just call you crazy. Of course, the news cycle is all programmed robots and so on, and just there has to be a crack in all this. Just play it out. It's all we can do. The zombie apocalypse is upon us. So, yeah, when you disconnect from that reality, it's not easy. It hurts. I mean, some of us are used to it, but the new people are. There's going to be a lot of pain breaking out of that. Yeah, they might be mad at the elites and all of that and all that conspiracy theory stuff, but eventually you start to, I don't know, get mature with it. So, okay, the cats are, I created have this stuff in another room, and that's where they're at. Ever since I set that up, they've been just going crazy with that other setup I have. So, that's where they are. So, it's their new hangout until they get tired of it. So they're around. They're just taking a break. So, all right. Guess the background won in this round so far. So, okay. All right. We're going to prediction energies. Obviously, I'm not going to go into super details on that. Reality glitches and Reptilian Supreme Court frequencies. So the reality glitch is really interesting. Of course, like when someone's like in jail, like their life is pretty much locked down. So I imagine some people feel work is jail or being married is jail and so on. They're still kind of living, but some people might start getting more memories of other versions. Of course, some people get that all the time, vivid dreams. Some that go through like actual vivid astral, yeah, because and remember it because that's part of your timeline is to remember that. So you're like kind of astral war basically, which is pretty intense. So okay, here we go. That's when you see the Men in Black and all that other stuff. Yeah, and that's not for everybody, that's for sure. Okay, okay, here we go. All right, blessings. Greetings. We are the Anunnaki again. Greetings. Only because we are very much part of your reality and how it was, sewn together. The astral realm cannot hide itself. It is found in art, pieces, and imagination. It goes into the movies, into television, the astral realm. So it has, it tells you about the future sometimes. It's, currently what you're going through is, yes, a massive awakening where you're not fully awake, but, you are allowed to disengage this reality. Those of course, you're going to be tested. But if you survive those tests, basically depression, energy attacks, things of that kind, eventually those will cease and desist eventually. Some of you do a lot in astral, just trying to shut all this down tomorrow or today, and that does make things more difficult for a smoother transition. But some of you, that's what you do. Yes, you do astral work that can be quite intense. That's why you wake up out of sync because you can say there's wars going on. There's all kinds of shenanigans happening in the astral. That there's like several wars in astral happening currently. And so you can say July is a part of another awakening. Depends on how you look at it. Others will find it's manipulation. Others you would see like you are moving, shifting consciousness. Doesn't mean that it's consciousness where the world is awakened, but you're less phased by any changes on this planet, which shows that the trickster energy that's working here is no longer working. So they want to cause, famine, fear, and all of these things. And some of you are just disconnected from that. And the universe knows that. It's like how many tricks it's like a parent trying to keep a lot hidden from their kids, and the kids are catching on. It's kind of like that. It's like none of your tricks are working. I can read right through you. And that's pretty much what's happening currently. So it's a gradual process. Yes, it's a very slow process because most of society is not, running at a faster speed. Many in humanity, as you can see, go very slow. Now, they don't see it that way. Not to say you're different than that, but many humans operate on a slow vibration. Not to say that they're incompetent or anything like that. It's just they run at a different speed. Some of you are evolving very quickly. As you can see, of course, you get very impatient too. Because you can see the future. You can technically see it. That's the downfall of your astral connections. You can see the world free of all this. And that might be 1,000 years in the future, 10,000 years, whatever it might be. But you can see it. And you just see how slow everything's going. But that's the test. So you're bringing that knowledge here. And it's difficult. It's not always going to make a whole lot of sense. But the physical realm has to run its course. It has contracts with humans. It can't just disconnect from all of that and just, here's your awakening. You can't just do that. It has to work through you. But many of you are finding your inner truth, whatever it might be, your inner timeline, whatever you want to believe that you find within yourself. It doesn't necessarily, now you can find information from others, what can trigger information about within yourself, but what is your version of reality? And it doesn't have to be anything as what you see it today. Then that's basically you connected to the astral also. So it's up to you and how you look at reality. Obviously, aliens aren't going to disappear here. Now, they do connect to all of you. They just don't make themselves known because they have to let this all play out. Realize many of you can see the veil and just ready for this all to come to an end, but once again, that's one of the challenges you signed up for. It's like you moved a little bit quicker. You can say you graduated quicker than others, but you still have to wait for the others to graduate. Let's put it that way. But that doesn't mean you still can't dive within yourself and just see reality as you wish to see it. So July, yes, is a major turning point. However you want to look at it, many of you will not be unfazed by it. But those that are at a slower vibration might lose their mind. It's not going to be that bad. But some are just not quite ready to just let it all go. They want to see where this world plays out too. It's like some live this life, as some of you might see, like a movie. It's like, I can't wait to see what happens next. And some of you are like, let's just get this over with. We've seen this movie already. But others in your society really cannot wait. So you're kind of dealing with that energy. It's like some of you want to fast forward to the end, and others just can't wait for the next cliffhanger. And that's in your reality. So it's another thing that you're up against. So, but yeah, you can look at life as a TV show if you like, because pretty much it is scripted. It's scripted, and yes, the most bizarre way you can think of. And many of you are seeing that astrally. You have some idea, but some of you have to be a little weird to see how it all put me, how it's all put together. It can be a little bit overwhelming, but if you connect more, I mean, some of you are strange beings. I mean, technically everybody is, but some of you go to the next level. Like being human is like a second thought. There's other type of beings that just human is not something you normally would incarnate in. Let's put it that. At least in this form. Greetings to you. We are the architects of your reality. We are connected to the archon frequency. Well, basically, there are beings that are warning from your world. Yes, warning machines. You can say that some of them are AI connected, but you're actually teaching a lot of alien beings of your experiences. So, like, you go through these experiences, you love it or hate it, but you teach others of what you're going through. And some of you can actually remember that. So, yes, it is a school, but just being here is very, because the world is so, it's like living out in the desert. You're living on a planet that is so far removed from other worlds. Most worlds have conversations with each other. This one doesn't. At least on a conscious level. You're not talking to Neptune or Pluto or anything. You're not having moon bases or anything like that. You do, but it's all kept from you. So this world is so unique how shut off it is, even from the soul perspective, because you're not really talking about the soul either. So you're basically reopening up your planet to connect to other worlds. Now you've been doing this for some time, but on a conscious level. It'll happen in ways that you won't most likely be able to see it coming, but it'll happen on your own. It's not going to reveal itself. It's not going to be as you might think it would. Well, it's like you might, living your life, and all of a sudden you feel like a Pluto, a Venus, a Mars speaking to the consciousness of the planet. Because the rest of the world is not really designed just yet for actual contact, but you on a spiritual direction. Even if you're not looking for it, it will come to you if it needs to. It depends on how much of this physical reality you continue to need, because you can slow down your ascension so you can learn what you need here in the physical, which many of you do. It doesn't mean that you're going backwards or anything like that. It's just that sometimes it's easier just to slow yourself down, because you can speed yourself up, but it's like you're going to complete the race, but it's like you feel more disconnected from reality. Like you become so disconnected from people that it's like, why are you even here? So that's why you slow down so you can be part of society, always have some kind of functionality, be around food, be around walls, be around anything. Because as you become more non-physical, which many of you actually are, you can probably feel it. You don't have a need for food, you don't have the need for even, I mean, you might be living in a space, but you can probably feel that you don't need this anymore either. Well, you just live in the ether. So that's why we mean some of you are slowing down. But yeah, the glitches of reality connecting to other dimensions of yourself, some of you are already doing this, and that will accelerate over time. Well, it's basically, it's like you're looking when you see other realities of yourself. It's like you're connecting to another, a book, a research. You're bringing that knowledge here. You need it for some reason that obviously can't go through everyone's timeline, but you have a reason for it to be here. So you connected to another version of you as far as some kind of disclosure, or just to freak out your family, is to show them that you're not normal, you're not here, you're not from this planet, and so on. Just different aspects of yourself that are started to unlock, especially when those are, see, right now you have children that are being told about their genders and all that, which is manipulation. It can be done much better, but obviously those are behind this have agendas because it's part of the awakening too. As you connect to the gender that works for you, you see more. But instead, they're pushing it on those that don't need to go through it to slow things down. But that's more of a manipulation than anything else. So, but it is part of an awakening. If you have your child that wants to change genders, it is an awakening for the parents to look at life a lot differently. So, yeah, it's a complicated situation, but there is a version of disclosure going on there. Yes, it's not easy, but this world was never intended to be easy, as many of you already know. Blessings. Greetings to you. Greetings. We are a neutral reptilian race. We are connected to your Earth. There are raptor beings that do manipulate your supreme. Some dinosaur beings manipulate your supreme. I know that sounds very bizarre right there. Well, some dinosaur beings do have a connection to. Well, where do you think the dinosaurs came from? They came from aliens that were already dinosaur but humanoid. So they're known to make other versions of themselves, just like a cat, a dog species are always known to create hybrids of themselves. It's very common. So there are dinosaur races that would just let you connect to that. Yeah, that might be a little rough for some that could tap into, but you do hear about reptilians, so why you just add the dinosaur aspect of it. A being that has a brontosaurus type of face, some details of it not exactly the same. A T-Rex being, usually the T-Rex beings are kind of like hot rodders, the type of beings that drive a Corvette. To give you a different aspect of that. The Supreme Court, obviously, there's many agendas going on there. Even they can't think clearly anymore. They're hearing the vibrations of others, and there's a galactic energy going on. Say, technically, that's a galactic meeting going on to change your reality. So where it's going to go it's never real. Even aliens don't even know how this is going to play out. I mean, some do, but they can't say anything. You just have to let you play this out because you are in the story of reality, of life, you chose this. You have a contract here, so maybe you want to see the future, but yes, your contract said you can't see the future. I mean, astrally, you can see it all very clearly. And then you wonder, it's like, am I going to go back into that body after I saw that? No. And that's why some of you get paralyzed when you at night when you're sleeping, because sometimes it's hard for you to go back in your body because some of you don't want to go back into your body. So kind of like you get back in there, it's like, oh, I'm not sure about this. So there's a lot of that happening. But as for Supreme Court energies, yes, of course, your government is a hijacked vibration. You can visualize all reptilians running your government. Majority of them are. Just because they can. Of course, there's other galactic beings that are involved. Hidden, of course. The agenda, your future, what we are allowed to see. A lot of old timelines, a lot of old belief systems are being broken down. So yeah, you might feel it's a manipulation, but it's like your reality is taking a turn, so you don't look to the past so much. It's like, oh, you're so concentrating on the future where things are going. Oh no, I'm worried about this, I'm worried about that. You're not looking at the past so much. I know it sounds a little strange, it's a little bit cryptic, but that's all we have. So that's why these things happen in the news and all the manipulations on to get you to move, so you're not really seeing the timeline shift that just occurred. It's like, oh no, I'm so worried about gas prices now. So now you're worried about that. You're not noticing the timeline shifts that just happened behind you. You're thinking about the future and all of this, and even in the now, of course, too. So you're so preoccupied with all that There's a lot that's being cut and cleared out, and the stage is being removed and things like that. Obviously, you don't see that here in the physical, but technically that's what's happening. So yeah, you're technically going on a roller coaster ride. You've been on one for some time, but yes, there's going to be some movement there where some of you might not like it, but it's necessary for your society. Overall, it's been designed here. So basically, it's like your timelines are kind of like a roller coaster track that you're already seeing from a distance, but now you're on it. So it's one thing looking up at it, it's like, oh, that looks kind of complicated. And now you're in the seat on the ride, which you've been to for some time. And there are some turns in it that can be like, geez, is this really happening? Yes, it is. So, well, we're just going to keep this light at this time. So, blessings.